And welcome to the Susie Homesteader channel. And today we're gonna go through some fun tablescapes and crafts and some cocktails and some great recipes for a beautiful springtime brunch, or maybe, you know, possibly even like a ladies' luncheon. This is a great tablescape for Mother's Day, you know, any other kind of little fun afternoon luncheon or even possibly dinner. So let's start with our tablescape today. And this is just kind of a nice, fun little, like I said, feminine concept. We're using purples and greens and blue and a little bit of blue and of course white. So these are some of my favorite colors that we're just going to put together today for this tablescape. And we're going to kind of try and keep this in a little bit more, like I said, of a floral theme. And again, I did use this tablescape for Mother's Day as well. So if you ever find any of your little girls' costumes and you can glue some little pretty rhinestones on there or something like that, that's kind of a fun one for a Mother's Day table. So we have at least a crown or a tiara for our wonderful mothers. And you could probably buy a whole bunch of these at the dollar store and set them on each plate if you wanted to. But there's a really easy one. So there is one little fun craft for your tablescape. I have to tell you, before I get started on this, I am really proud of this tablescape because every single thing on this table I got either at a thrift store or possibly Walmart. So I know it looks like a very elaborate, very expensive tablescape, but it was not. So it was a little tricky to find some of my silver pieces, and I did kind of luck out at the thrift store the day I went in there because apparently they did have quite a few pieces of silver, and some of it's just silver plated and some of it is a solid silver. So, you know, when you're kind of treasure hunting, find whatever you can find. You know, silver's kind of a tricky one, full silver, to find, and it may cost you a little bit more at a thrift store. But again, this was all done through thrift store and Walmart, with the exception of my lattice. And you might actually see a little bit of my construction, my remodel construction in this video, which I also have a video on, where I'm turning my porch into a dining room. So sometimes kind of fun things happen. This piece of lattice actually just came off of an exterior wall from my remodel, and I brought it in here and I thought, you know what, I think that is exactly the size I needed for my tablescape. So sometimes, you know, fun things like that happen. So if you have a piece of lattice or you want to go buy a piece of lattice somewhere for kind of like a garden theme on your tablescape, this was a piece of cedar lattice that I stained, or you can even just go buy the white plastic lattice if you want to incorporate that into your tablescape. So that is the only piece that I did not get at a thrift store. Anyway, so lattice makes some great runners. You can even use that as placemats if you want to cut those into smaller pieces. And then of course we just have some chargers and kind of a doily theme. Now, while I was doing my table here, I was thinking along the lines of doilies, something else that might be kind of fun if you crochet or you knit is to maybe knit something like that in like a green or a purple, or crochet it. And as long as you have a glass plate on the top, it'll still be nice and flat and you can still see it. So there's a couple fun things you can do with doilies, but there's one example. And then here's another kind of a fun little doily craft. And that is just a toilet paper roll, or, oh, you know, those tubes you get in the mail, with a doily glued onto it. And so there you go, there's your silverware holder. But there's another little doily craft. And here's a third doily craft, and that is nothing more than just kind of a pretty piece of paper with a doily, a small doily on top that's been laminated on both sides, and you do want to do that on both sides because it is hot glued to a piece of tile. So if you have some old tiles laying around and you want to glue something like that onto it, that is perfectly reusable and your doily will last forever. So there's a fun way to make a little doily coaster. So there's a few examples of how to use some doilies on your table. And then, of course, you know, it's kind of nice to have some real flowers as well as fake flowers on your tablescape. And that's just some pretty little violas that are put in a teacup, you know, and a saucer. And then here's another easy little way to turn that into a place card holder. And these are just some, of course, little birdhouse things I found at a thrift store. But you can, you know, use anything on a popsicle stick and put it into your teacups, and you now have a place card holder that you can write on. So there's another fun little way to set your table. And then, you know, just like I said, part of assembling your table is just hunting and gathering and collecting all your fun little pieces, putting them all together and kind of seeing how it turns out. So if you have any like pretty little pearls or bobbly things, excuse me, that you can just throw into your theme, there you go. And then here's another fun one that I kind of decided to throw in last minute. I was going to possibly try and find some lace dresses, which I thought would be really pretty with our, you know, female theme here on the table. I was going to find some lace dresses, but apparently those are really hard to find, especially when you need 8 to 10 of them. So I gave up on trying to find some lace dresses, and I found these beautiful crocheted sweaters, and yes, they were at a thrift store, and decided that if I could just find the same colors, I could incorporate them into my tablescape as a chair accent. So don't overlook somebody else's hard work. Somebody put a lot of time and energy into this beautiful crocheted sweater, and apparently they didn't want to wear it, so we're now going to turn it into a chair accent. So think outside the box when you see things that are pretty and you just don't know what to do with them. So there is a couple of fun ideas for you. Like I said, just find as many, you know, fun little flowers, fake and real. This is just, like I said, stuff that was sitting at the thrift store, and we just threw it all together into one giant centerpiece. So lots of easy ways to create just a pretty table and inexpensively, and I'm sure you could add all kinds of more fun craft ideas to your springtime table. So there you go. I'm going to show you a couple more crafts that you can incorporate into your room or some other place in your house for springtime, or like I said, Mother's Day, a lunch, even possibly a young girl's graduation. So lots of ideas for this kind of a theme, and let's go over and look at a few fun crafts. Okay, so we still have some more fun crafts for you for your beautiful spring luncheon or your tablescape, or just somewhere in the house. And we're going to use up a little bit of our nylons, and we're going to use up some of our old jewelry. So here is a bottle that you might have already seen that I think I had in my Easter video. But all that is a carafe, or you can just go get a wine bottle or just anything from your bar or your kitchen, and just stretch a pretty little nylon over there. And that, yeah, there's the bottom, and then come up with some kind of maybe a cute little cork. So that is just some old giant cork that I had that went to something, and I put a faucet handle on top of that. So lots of fun bottle stopper ideas, which I'll have for you in a lot of my videos. But anyway, there's a fun way to decorate a carafe for your luncheon. And then another way to use up your nylons is possibly just using it over a wreath. So this is just kind of the beginning of a wreath, which, you know, you can embellish, you can add all kinds of fun stuff to, but that just gives you an example of how to cover up maybe a wreath that you want to get started on. And then again, just find some more of that old junk jewelry that you got laying around, or maybe something that's broken in a drawer, and just incorporate it into some of your fun crafts. And something like this you could just keep going with. Just keep adding little fun pieces of jewelry to, or anything you got laying around. So there's a good way to start a wreath, a real pretty wreath for that time of year. And then go, oh, wait a second, let's go back to this one. And then here is another way to just finish up using up any nylons. So again, just, you know, think outside the box. That's just wrapped around a flameless candle. And another thing you can do to finish up with your nylons, if you want, is just, you could even stretch a pair over your candle jar if you wanted to do something like that. So lots of ideas with nylon, so don't, forget the ones you have sitting around in the drawer. And then back to the jewelry. This is a cake banner. And again, I had some broken bracelets and jewelry and stuff sitting in the drawer, and then I took it out and created this cute little cake banner and just glued some of those pretty pieces onto the banner. So there's another thing to do with some of that old jewelry. And then these cake banners I also like to put into these candle jars, because if they're not actually on a cake, they're kind of a cute little way to incorporate your banners into other decorations that you have. So I do that a lot. And then this this jar is also filled with some fun stuff. So if you have some old pearl necklaces or rhinestones, any kind of bobbly stuff, just throw it all in a jar and then stick your candle in there. So lots of fun ideas with old jewelry. And then here's another example of that. And this is just an old, wooden frame with some fabric glued on it. And again, that old jewelry. This all came off of an old bracelet that broke. And we just turned all those little brooches and fun pieces that, again, you can still find in the thrift store into our picture frame. So lots of fun things. You just got to get some hot glue to do with your jewelry. And then when you're going through that old junk drawer, when you're making these little cute tiaras for birthday parties, or again, we're using this one on our Mother's Day table, just go buy a bunch of these little dollar store, costume crowns and glue all kinds of fun stuff on it. So that's an easy one for kids, or again, some kind of an adult theme. And then if you're not into tiaras and you know how to knit, or maybe you have a really good friend of yours, like I do, that knows how to knit, come up with some kind of a cute colored theme with the same idea. So here we still have our purples and our whites and our greens, and that is all knitted into this super cute little cap. So, and if you need more information on these, since I don't actually knit or crochet, you can go to Facebook, Zen Knits, and they have all kinds of really super cute styles. So I wish I had more time to do this kind of stuff, but if you don't, like I said, you can certainly custom order these to go with your outfit or your whole theme for the day. So there's a super cute knitted hat to go with your theme. And then here is a super easy way to create a cake plate. So this is nothing more than a candlestick, a silver candlestick base, glued onto a silver tray or a platter. And I'm pretty sure this is just like silver plated. Of course I found it in a thrift store. But just go get yourself some of that E600 glue and you're good to go. And there you have a silver cake plate. And then another fun theme for your cakes is just to put some cake toppers on there. So if you have some popsicle sticks and you ever find any kind of little cute doodaddy things like that, that just kind of fit into your theme, just glue them on there. Or you can just leave them, without a stick and set them on top of your cakes. So lots of great ideas for cake toppers and cake banners to go with your cake plate, cake server. And then last but not least, here's kind of another fun, easy one. These are just mason jars, and I know these mason jar crafts are super popular right now. But what I wanted to do was kind of create a do-it-yourself frog for those, which all that is just some hardware cloth cut into the lid of the mason jar. Just cut yourself some little circles and put it inside the outer lid of your mason jar, and now you have kind of your own little do-it-yourself frog flower frog to put on top of your mason jars. And then all I did with this was paint them with an acrylic paint, and I might have put a polyurethane coat over that. I don't know, but anyway, super easy to paint mason jars. And of course, again, we're back to the same color theme with our purples and our greens and our whites. So you can paint those any color you want. This just happened to be an old canning rack that I had sitting around. So now we have our mason jars, turning that into just some kind of a real pretty floral arrangement. So lots of things you can do with mason jars. I know you guys see tons of that stuff on Pinterest. And there you go. There's a couple more fun crafts. And then this last little craft that we had for our tablescape was just a fun little banner. And this banner, since I ran out of materials, is just a lunch bag. So hang on to your lunch bags. Get one of those scissors that have the cute little edges on them. Cut your lunch bags into, you know, the designs you want. And then I did polyurethane those, or no, Mod Podge. I put some Mod Podge on top of that. That's what that is. And also added some cute little cards that I found. I think it was on, might have been Etsy, but anyway. Or you can do some old photos. So go get some old little tiny invitations or cards, or any kind of cute little pictures you can find. Like I said, old pictures, and just Mod Podge those onto your paper bags. And there you go, you have a banner too. A little springtime banner, and in this case, this is a Mother's Day banner. So lots of ways to use your paper bags as well. So hopefully that gives you a couple other cute, fun ideas to add to our springtime theme. This is also a great one for birthdays. You can turn any of these into birthday gifts for girls. And there you go. So if you have any more questions, come and see me on my website, Susie Homesteader of the Rockies. And I will see you there. Bye-bye.
Garage sale. At the price I'm paying for this stock, Mr. Morse, you are going to be a very rich man.
I'm rich enough. I just want to add my shipyard.
Slippery little suckers.
So let's get started. Subscribe to the Susie Homesteader channel, and we'll see you there. Bye-bye.